My name is Lois Arthur, and I'm a faculty member at the University of Iowa in the Theater Arts Department. That doesn't necessarily have anything to do, I don't have a black business, but I'm one of the coordinators of the Soul Fest, along with Creighton Gaynor here. And I teach a class in art and community engagement with Travis Krause. And as part of that, we did a project called the Story Map for Black businesses, and met a lot of our folks on our panel who were there to tell us their stories and share their information. And so I have some cards with the QR code, so people, if you haven't encountered that, you can. And so part of that was also to carry on and keep having conversations in the community about black businesses, particularly for people who want to start a business or are at a certain point and want to develop their business. And I believe the folks that we have here, I'm not going to call you a panel, but our guests have businesses at different stages or have connections. And so part of the conversation is for them to be able to talk to one another and get any information you want. You might as well network and get that information. Tasha and Tracy, who were with us last year, which is kind of nice, so we have a follow-through, and we can get an update. And Cliff as well. And so I'm going to have them introduce themselves and talk a little bit about their business, and then talk a little bit about how they started their businesses and successes and challenges. But I want you all to feel free to kind of interject and ask each other questions to see, I had this challenge, did you have this challenge? So that we can sort of share the information as we go along, and it's not quite just a presentational kind of conversation. And then if anyone has any questions that they might want to share, that's also part of this. I have a couple of resources that Creighton helped pull together that are from the state, from the IRS. There seem to be a couple of, and maybe Tracy, you can address this, how effective they are. There are a couple of programs about starting a business and supposedly all of this support and help in starting a business here in Iowa. And I have those websites, but we can talk about that too, as to how useful they are, and go from there, okay? All right, so whoever would like to start?
No, start from
They're making Z start. No? Start.
Hey, I'm the new kid on the block.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Cliff. It's your house, Cliff. How about you start? Okay.
There you go. No problem at all. Hi, everybody. My name's Cliff Johnson. I am the owner, head coach, and a father here in Iowa City. We started our business here. Actually, ICOR has existed before I've been around, but it just started off in a very small scale. It started off pretty much in a room, but I come from Philadelphia. My father owns a gym out in Philadelphia, and he raised me in a gym pretty much the same way I'm kind of raising my sons the exact same way. And I learned a lot along the way from him. Therefore, when I came here to Iowa City, I really wanted to, I saw opportunity to do a little bit more and a little bit better for the gym and the community, because I noticed how the community is. I noticed how small but big this city feels. I wanted to try to bring out a little bit more, and it seemed like there was a little bit of a hole there. So with our gym, we started to, I decided to take it into a different direction rather than just be a competition gym, which we are very much so and have been for quite some time, even well before I was around. I wanted to turn it into a gym that's for everyone. no matter who they are. And that's the huge difference that really kind of uplifted our business completely. We started off, like I said, in a smaller room that was next to Fin and Feather. If you're familiar, right down the road here, it was Hollywood Tans, there was Fin and Feather, and then if you go behind that, there was a gym called ProFit. And ProFit at the time, you go up the stairs and then you go into a small little room, and that small little room was us. We were I-Core there, but from there I wanted us to grow. And I saw the potential due to the fact that everybody was eager and willing, but we were a hidden gem. So when ProFit decided to leave the location, we stayed and tried to branch out a little bit more at a time. From there, we grew our clientele, our family is what we call it, really. And then we decided to get a new location. That new location, before going there, we were still in that small room, but made a few moves to make sure we had the front area to advertise. Now, the front area was that door that's in between Fin and Feather and Hollywood Tans. It's that one door that you have there. That made a huge difference. It was a big deal. It's a difference between being a hidden gem that's in the back of a building inside of a small room. It made a huge difference because it made us a lot more easily accessible. The one thing that I saw is that people just need to see. They need to feel. You're driving by all the time. If you have no idea it's there, then you're not going to know it's there. That's just what it is. So once we got out there to the front, we had that symbol out there. It made it a lot easier for people to come in. More people show up. We grow a little bit more over time. We build better families, and then move on to our next location, which was behind the BP gas station, if you guys know, right down the street here. It was right behind there, next to Gentle Hearts Pet Clinic, I believe. And from there, we grew even more. And then we started to introduce more to the gym, like our Parkinson's program. When I say boxing is for everyone, I mean that. Boxing is for everyone. It is something that we have fighters from the age of 5 all the way up to 95. And it's simply because it's about exercise. It's not all about just punching and banging and everything like that. It's about taking care of yourself, your mind, your body, your spirit, period. So when it comes down to Parkinson's, it is extremely helpful because it's a disease that's slowly but surely starting to slow you down and stop you in your place. We wanted to make sure that if there's a way that we can help people, and especially people who are dealing with something that is not normal and very difficult, we wanted to make sure that they have a place that they can not only build a community and be a part of our family, like we say, but also just something to help build them up and keep them going in the right path. From there, we grew even more, and I had my eye on this place pretty much on my significant other's first date. Or we drove by and it was a joke, and it was just like, oh yeah, oh man, that could totally be a gym. We both are boxers and fighters ourselves, and it was just kind of like, oh yeah, totally, that place right there could be a great gym. And came the opportunity. When you build things up at a certain point in time, you'll see opportunities that kind of open up doors, and this place came up. It was a auto group or something along those lines like that before for quite some time. And then from there, I was like, looks like it's open, got to take that chance. Now, that was a big step to take, but at the same time, it's only gotten better. Now we're throwing shows here. We are also starting to branch off into other avenues when it comes down to throwing shows around, because now I am the vice president of the Golden Gloves. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the Golden Gloves, but it is one of the oldest boxing tournaments that they have here in the United States right now, and it's important to keep. We almost lost it, but the goal was to make sure that we bring it back to life a little bit more. We almost lost it due to the fact that we didn't have it for a few years due to the pandemic. And then on top of that, just over time, we had a few issues, that's all. But now that we are back on course, we have the Golden Gloves back here in Iowa. Now we're going to try to bring it here to Iowa City. That's a big deal. Golden Gloves have always been in Des Moines, but now we're going to bring a franchise, a huge national franchise, right here to Iowa City, right to the heart of Iowa City. So growing a little bit at a time, that's what we do. We say every little bit goes a long way, one step at a time, and yeah, that's pretty much it. We work with everybody, and we are willing to work with anybody. So with that being said, I'm passing.
Well, that's an amazing success story. Congratulations.
Thank you.
By the way, yeah, that's amazing. Next.
Feeling ready?
No.
Just do it, yeah.
I'll go.
Just do it.
I'm a little nervous, but hey, everybody. My name is Z Brown. I'm one half of the Flavor Unit, because it's a unit. It's a collective. I can't do it by myself. My better half is at the Iowa Soul Festival right now. I'm preparing for today's event. And pretty much we started cooking over 20-something odd years ago. Me and my husband wanted to always go this route, not necessarily the food truck. We always thought bigger, and the bigger plan was always to open up a restaurant and, take on that task. But some things don't happen that way. Sometimes you got to just crawl before you walk. We're a definition of crawling before you walk. It really took 20 years after to get to this point to save for a food truck. I kind of waited on my husband, to be honest, because he had some health issues for over 10 plus years. We were in the middle of raising our family, raising our sons and our daughters, which is 10 of them collectively. That's why we're a whole unit. And once he got better, my plan and our promise was to save, start a food truck, and take it from there. I mean, we already been through the worst. Can't get no worse than that. Everything has been on track so far, so great. And I try to speak positivity because I know the bad days. Now we're looking forward to the good days. And it's going to take some hard work. I recognize that. I realize that. Again, I'm super resilient, and that's it. I wanna be able to show everyone who have this passion and this goal that it can be done, no matter what background, no matter what you have been through, what storm you have been through, it can happen, and it just takes some unification, unifying, planning, resilience, and it's not easy, but whatever you put your mind to it, you can definitely achieve it, because all it is us versus us at the end of the day. Can't nobody stop me from achieving my goal but me.
So after 20 years, you're taking a big step as well. You were just
I
saying
was
it's Sycamore.
scared. I was afraid. I mean, my
Yeah,
husband,
tell folks about that.
Yeah, yes, definitely. My husband had kidney disease, so he was pretty much on dialysis for 10 years. Cancer survivor, all of it. And
So the restaurant you were telling me about at Sycamore
oh yeah,
Mall. Yes.
See, that's the celebration
Yes.
part. I forget to celebrate, to be honest, because I'm so caught up in just working towards that goal, but I'm hitting the goals and I'm not, you know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah.
Absolutely.
But definitely Sycamore Mall, we already secured it, they offered a great program for people like us to start somewhere. And it was a great incentive, so we jumped on it, afraid. not really knowing what will come from it. But you got to put fear behind you. And what we are coming with, I need development on trying to explain to people what we did so it can be copied and pasted along the way for other people who want to do it. But we figured out a way, a business organization way, to start a food truck, start a restaurant, the most efficient, with the least resources. And that within itself, that business model within itself is something I feel like can be copied and pasted to the next person and the next person and the next person. It's kind of like a map within itself. So that's what I need help right now trying to figure out, how to make this come into fruition so that way other people who want to go this route can do it this way, because it's that structure that works. Yep.
Next. Thank you. Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
We'll celebrate you.
We'll celebrate later.
Where do you mind if I ask, which is it, the one that's being built in there right now?
No, so that one is where they're gonna have stuffed turkey legs there. I can't wait, because I get tired of eating jerk chicken. By the way, I eat my own food all day long, and I just can't do it no more. But so I get excited for other people. But it's the mall entrance where the movie theater.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right there, the old Roly Pop.
Yeah.
It's just enough space just so we can do what we need to do.
That's fantastic.
And we're all working. All the new tenants is working towards a common goal, so we can all work together and bring. The mall needs to grow again. It needs some renewal. You know, it needs that energy again. And this side of town, and we're based out of North Liberty. That's where we started. I started there because nothing was really out there. But, you know, sometimes you got to step away to come back. And that's pretty much. I want to bring it back to our home base. This is our home base.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tasha.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tasha Lard, and I'm the owner of JD Beauty Supply. JD Beauty Supply has been open now 2 years, going on 3 years. And when I initially started, I actually opened my store in the middle of a pandemic. I opened when the pandemic first started, and I was afraid, very afraid, because I'm like, who's going to shop here? There's no money, no one's working, and everybody is shut down, and we can't even go outside. But I took a chance on me. One of the things, when I opened JD Beauty Supply, I opened it on my birthday. It was actually my birthday present to myself. And initially, I was going to buy a motorcycle. I was like, I don't need a bike. That was going to be my birthday present to myself. But I wanted something that I can pass on to my children so that they can carry on. And I couldn't do that with a motorcycle. So I opened a beauty supply store. One of the reasons I opened it is because there wasn't anything like it in the community. There was, but it wasn't something that was stable, and it wasn't consistent. And I'm a social worker by degree, and so I always look for how can I help people and how can I help my community. And so there's a big community of African American here, and it was hard and it was bad that we had to go outside of our own homes, outside of our state, to get those hair care products that we needed for our hair. As a mother of 4, I had to do that. I had to get in my car and drive all the way back home to Chicago and buy in bulk and bring it back here so that we can have those products. We couldn't go into Walgreens or Walmart because we all know that in Walgreens and Walmart, there's only this one little section that caters to black women and African American people in their hair. And at the time that I opened JD Beauty Supply, it was a time that Walmart decided to lock those items up with a key because they were preventing theft. And so that prompted me even more to open a beauty supply store here in the South District because it was a need. It wasn't something that I just wanted to do. It was a need. And so fast forward 2 years, I'm still there. But there are also challenges. It's not easy, especially a beauty supply store, right? Because everyone knows, or most people know, that beauty supply stores are Korean owned, and they have been for years. So for me, the challenge is getting those products, right? Because it has been Korean owned for so many years, we face a lot of black beauty supply owners. We face a lot of pushback from that community, right? Because for us, is we use these products. We should be the ones selling them. We know what they do to our hair. We know what we need for our hair. They don't. They're just selling it. And so when it was time to open, there was a lot of pushback from that community, because how dare you try to take something that doesn't belong to you? And unfortunately, I still face it right now today, right? So some of the products, and we go and I try to put certain items in the store from the higher makers, and they're like, yeah, in order to get this contract, your initial purchase has to be $40,000. Who has $40,000? First of all, my store isn't even that big to put $40,000 worth of products in, right? Like $40,000 is going to fill my store from the front to the back. I don't need that much product. But they did it because this is their way to block us out, right? Because they know we don't have it. And so for me, as being a social worker, it was me finding other people who also needed that brand of product, who also they've shut out and said, you need this high amount to get it. So what I did was I have a group that was created, and I reached out to other black beauty supply stores and said, hey, do you need Bobbi Boss? Yes. Okay. They set a high limit. How much did they tell you had to have? And it was different. Each person who had a beauty supply, it was different. One lady said they told her $50,000, $40,000. It was these high amounts that we had to meet. Okay, well, let's beat them at their own game. How about, how much do you have? I got $5,000. I got $5,000. Who else wants to put in? And that's how we were able to, I was able to get some of those contracts because I had everybody else putting in. So when other black beauty supply stores, and it's not here, they're like literally all over the world, when they need those products, they'll reach out and say, I need to place an order for Bobbi Boss. And they'll send me what they want to order, and I order it for them because they've been pushed out. So the challenges for us in black beauty supply stores is it's not easy, but we still push forward. And again, I have my children who they're watching. You know, I have younger people who they're watching, and it's also showing them that you don't quit because someone says you have to. Mm-hmm. You keep pushing, and even though it gets hard, you still keep going. And so me opening, and again, I've been open for 2 years, but it goes a little deeper, right? I have JD Beauty Supply, and some people call me JD. They're like, hey, JD, but that's not my name. And so no one really knows the story of where the JD comes from. But the JD, my store is named after my uncles, my mother's brothers, and they both played very significant roles in my life. My uncle and my Uncle Jesse, when I was pregnant, my mom left to go shopping. I was in labor, like literal labor. And she was like, I'm going shopping. You're going to leave me here like this? And my uncle panicked, as most men do. And he left, and he just walked around trying to find which store she was at. He literally walked to every store, miles trying to find her. And that was my Uncle Jesse. And then my Uncle Doug, when I initially moved here to Iowa, it was just me and my children. He packed up his whole entire house, and he moved here with me so I can get set up, help the kids get situated for school, help babysit, whatever I needed him to do, he did. His name was Doug. And when I got set up, he went back home. He went back to his home place, but it was the point that he jeopardized himself to come help me. And so my store is named after those two uncles, my Uncle Jesse and my Uncle Doug. So that's where JD Beauty Supply come from. But again, it's still, for me, it's just pushing. And everything I do, it has a meaning. Me wanting to open a store for the community, it has a meaning. So for me, it's pushing forward and providing not just me, but things that everyone in the community needs. And for me, I keep going, like it doesn't stop. I'm always community-based. I'm always wanting to help someone else in the community other than myself. I work a lot of jobs and I wear a lot of hats, but I always go back to the social work part of me is providing something for someone else. And I think I posted on my Facebook page the other day, like I pour into so many cups, sometimes I have to keep what's left for myself. Mm-hmm. But I'm okay with doing the pouring because that's what I'm made to do, right? We all have a purpose in life. That's my purpose. I knew my purpose when I was very young, and I'm grounded in my purpose. And my purpose is helping others, uplifting others, because I have the capacity to do that. I'll go home, I'll sleep it off, but I'll get back up in the morning and get all over to it all over again because that's my purpose. That's it.
Excellent. Yep. Well, since we're congratulating everybody, congratulations on 3 years
Thank you.
at your store over at the Pepperwood Plaza. And can you talk a little bit about the impact the SMID will have? And Cliff, maybe, you're part of that initiative as well? Yes, so talk about that for this area.
So the SMID, we have a few SMID board members here.
And the initials stand for,
Self-Supported Municipal Improvement District.
thank you.
And what that is there's a self-tax for the business owners in the area, and they self-tax. And with that self-tax, we're able to uplift that community and provide and create the resources for that community and build it up. And we're not the only place that has SMIDs. Downtown is a SMID. Cedar Rapids has a few SMIDs, which is their NUBO, their medical district. So again, it's a way to create those opportunities for that business district, and it's creating a business district. Because in the South District in Pepperwood Plaza, it has been isolated for some time. And we wanted to change that narrative for that, and that's what we've been doing with the SMID. For me, I'm the president of the board of directors of that SMID. Mr. Tracy here is the vice president of that SMID. And then we have our secretary here as well, Michael. She's the secretary of that SMID. So again, it's about growing that community. But this is for us, this is something that we have been doing for a while. We just hired our executive director, which is Angie Jordan. And with Angie Jordan, myself, and Marlene Mendoza, we all sat down when I opened my store those years ago, and initially we sat on the side of JD Beauty Supply, and we were taught and we learned what a SMID was. And it was at that moment we realized we want that. Like, we want that we want this for here too. We want this to be vibrant again. We want people to want to come here. And so that was the part of the SMID. And so one of the talking points for that SMID was the diversity market, right? And we all had a reason why we wanted to create the diversity market. And she had her reason, I had my reason, and Marlene had her reason for one, and also Fred had his reason for wanting to create the diversity market, right? All of our reasons were different. And for me, and I've said this previously, like, I wanted to do the diversity market because I wanted to provide a platform for people who looked like me, who shared the same melanin in their skin that I had, who had the same dialect as me, because they've been rejected by a bigger community because of those same exact reasons. That was my reason for wanting to create the diversity market. All of us had our own reason, but it was still geared towards building our community and building the people in that community. And this year was our second annual, and we're going to keep going. We have our entertainment coordinator. He's our first one that we've had, but we're going to keep growing that part because that's what the South District deserves. It's always deserved it. We just want to make sure that it happens and continues to happen. So that's what the SMID it kind of entails.
And the diversity market is going to move into the Slumberland building?
Potentially.
Potentially.
That's for the but we don't have any control over the ownership of that. We are focused on our vendors and providing the resources that they need continuously, not just one day or during the diversity market, because those vendors still get emails. You still get the emails quite frequently? Yeah, we send them a lot. It's
whole folder for y'all emails.
See, we don't just leave them out in the wind after this is over. We follow up. We continue to follow up. We show up for them when we can. We promote them throughout the year, not just for the diversity market, because they deserve that, because we're providing a platform for them that they didn't have before.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you. And congratulations again.
Thank you.
All right. Rachel?
Oh, yeah.
Come on, Rachel. Get it over with.
I don't want to go out to Tasha her story.
I know that. Yeah.
I'm sorry. You told me to go.
I was just playing.
See?
Okay. Well, my name is Rachel Scott. I am the owner of Cafe on the Go. It is a mobile coffee, tea, and pastry bar. Started off as a coffee roaster here in Iowa City for Cafe Del Sol. And like Tasha, I had the bright idea of opening a business during the pandemic. The business plan came into line. I was offered to buy Cafe Del Sol Roasting once Steve retires. And I thought to myself, before I do this, I need to learn how to run a business. I'm very good at helping others make money, but I don't want to fail. So I had people asking me to sell cups of coffee. We aren't set up as a cafe to sell coffee out the warehouse, so I thought, why not open one? I didn't want to do a brick and mortar because, let's face it, it's about 2 or 3 coffee shops on every corner here in Iowa City. I wanted to be able to service different parts of the community, so I decided to make my business mobile. That way I can go to parks where us parents are tired of getting up at 6 in the morning going to play with our kids and have nothing to drink. Those factory workers who don't have anything or are just drinking Folgers in the break room. And nothing wrong with Folgers, but I just wouldn't drink it myself. They need good coffee. So I thought about all of those neighborhoods and places where it's hard for them to get a drink at 2, 3 in the morning when they're starting their work shift. So the idea of being mobile came about. I am a mother of 4, so it has been hard trying to get this business going, especially with a 4-year-old running around. Yeah, we all know. And if you know her, it's, yeah,
She's interesting.
very. So, started the business. Before I actually was up and running, I needed training, and I knew that. So I went and found classes. Multicultural Development Center has helped me a lot, taught me a lot of things. I went through venture school with the University of Iowa. I took classes with the Jane Boyd Center, did a lot of research, and decided to just go for it. Right now, we are doing mostly festivals and private catering events because honestly, raising capital is hard, especially for a mobile vendor. So it's been just a whole lot of my blood, sweat, tears, and 9-to-5 job money, which is running out. It's been a lot of times when I thought about, like, why am I doing this? I'm not really making any money right now because it's new, and I just wanted to quit. Like, okay, it's not working. I can't find funding, but I'm very competitive even with myself, and I thought about it. If I let my kids see how easily I gave up and I always keep telling them not to give up, then what kind of example am I setting for them? What kind of example am I setting for communities or the people I mentor and try to help? And I just kept putting myself out there. It took a lot of no's for me to get where I'm at, but I don't like the word no. I don't like being told no. So I just kept getting up in people's faces. I have probably sat at the public health office every day until they caved in and gave me the permits I wanted and gave me what I needed for my truck. And that was mostly because they was probably tired of seeing my face. Just getting out there and putting yourself out there, especially for a person of color, is very hard. It was very hard here in Iowa City because it's not a lot of us who are able to just step out there or that don't feel comfortable with putting themselves in a position of being told no. I would just tell people, don't give up. Like, do what you need to do. Whatever somebody tell you, don't just take it. Don't run with anything. Research it yourself. Go out there. I network to this day. I'd go to everything I see, any event I see where it look like it's people there that I need to know, I signed up. Half of them still don't know who I am, but they know my face because I just sit there and look at them and wave and slide a business card here and there to whoever want to take it. Got a few things coming up soon. Maybe a brick and mortar. I don't want to say where yet because it's not etched in stone. Probably a few of them. Right now we're hosting a lot of pop-up markets just to get myself out there. And with my business, I like to create opportunities for everyone else. I also sell pastries and stuff on my truck and I am not a baker at all. I can make a box cake, that's about it. But I'm all for community, so I promote other small businesses and small bakers and people that are just underrepresented or, like you said, hidden gems in Iowa that nobody knows about. So since they're scared to put themselves out there, I put them out there. I make sure I use different ones, promote them probably more than I promote myself. And I just go for it. Right now, it has been hard because a lot of my events are in the morning because I'm in the coffee business. But I also have a toddler. So it's like trying to find time to balance that home life, work life, businesswoman. It takes a lot. But I stay ready because I rat around with my coffee. I'm nervous, y'all, so I don't know what to say after Tasha.
Nope, that's great. Yes.
I told you let me go last.
Congratulations on your business.
Thank you.
Well, now I
Tracy.
guess I have to go.
Yes.
My name is Tracy John Sargent. I am the founder and executive director of the Multicultural Development Center of Iowa, which is way too long, so we just call ourselves MDC Iowa. We started 5 years ago now. Actually, this is the end of our 5th year. We really were focused on improving the diversity in STEM, or the lack of diversity in STEM. I'm a technologist. In my family, we like to joke about how I have like 2 or maybe 3 full-time jobs. I'm a cybersecurity engineer, so I'm like an anti-hacker. I work with most of the major corporations in Iowa, and I work for a company that's based out of Israel. And so I've got some exposure and experience with international business and working, at kind of a high level. And that was all fine and good. Probably should have been enough to keep me busy. But when you start focusing on racial equity in an industry like STEM, you realize that there's a lot of other inequities that exist. And when you start listening to your community, you find out that there's other ways for you to help. And so 2 years ago, we started our BIPOC Business Accelerator Program, which is a 16-week program modeled very closely after what 24/7 Black does in Waterloo. And we just had our 2nd cohort graduation. We're going to start our 3rd cohort in the middle of October. And it's all virtual, but it really is an opportunity to support aspiring entrepreneurs and existing businesses that identify as a BIPOC individual to help identify what are some of those gaps. Where can we help them? What are some areas where they might need some support? When we realized that there was a lot of support we could provide, it included financial support. So we've done a lot to help businesses. We do a lot of technical assistance. We pay for software. We've purchased, I stopped counting how many laptops and printers and things that we've purchased for small businesses. We're about halfway complete with somebody's coffee cart that will have everything they need to have an espresso machine and a grinder and hopefully a refrigerator and everything. I mean, it basically will be completely mobile. And so we do whatever we can. It's never the same thing for 2 businesses. We try to listen to what the needs are, and then we address those. And I've been accused of being a serial entrepreneur. I've started a number of businesses and sold most of them. And so I feel like I'm uniquely qualified to help people understand how to grow their businesses. But we've got a solid curriculum. We kind of looked at what was available in Iowa, and I just found a lot of them to be kind of lacking. But maybe more importantly, they weren't BIPOC-led. And I think that bothered me the most, that whether it was someone that kind of had a bit of a savior complex or, just, some of these white-led organizations that would come in and say, well, we can do these things for you. And to Tasha's point about the diversity market, they stay with them, right? We stay with them. I mean, Rachel graduated from our very first cohort. That was last December. And we're still, working with her and trying to find ways to support her. Some of these other organizations, you go through their program and that's it. You're done. There's no connection. I don't feel like there's a lot of commitment from some of those organizations to really make sure that you're successful. We have people like Fred. I'm going to call him out because he does amazing work, but he doesn't promote himself, right? He's helping a lot of businesses, and most people don't know that. So this really is something that our community is doing to support each other. that we can't expect other people, to come in and do that for us. But like a lot of businesses, financial constraints are issues, right? You just heard Rachel talk about that capital. And so I leveraged my network and the allies that we have in that space and raised some funds. And so we now officially are a bank. And so we can do small dollar loans and micro loans to support those individuals. And some people look at that and say, well, what's the difference? I mean, there's a lot of banks out there, and there's actually some black-owned banks. The difference is we make those decisions here, right? There's a local loan committee where I get to decide, I know Rachel, I know she's good people, I looked at her business model, we know she's going to make it, and she just needs X for capital. That's a no-brainer. And if the state affiliate that reviews those at a state level doesn't want to do it, we still have the ability to say, we're going to do it anyways. So we've been able to kind of take some control and take some ownership of what's actually happening. And then we have, a lot of other things that we can try to do to help support them. But at its core, we're really just trying to make sure that our community knows that they're empowered to do the things that they need to do, and that we just want to play a role in that. I think with what we're doing on the SMID, what we do in our accelerator, as we continue to build our community, we're going to see that become even stronger. And when we, can set aside maybe some differences or realize that there's a role for all of us to play, I think we can be even stronger as a community. And when that happens, we're unstoppable. And so I'm very excited about what that future looks like when we can all, come together. One of the first times I met Tasha, she had kind of shared with me this crab bucket mentality, and I wasn't familiar with that. And it's really stuck with me that it does seem like within our communities of color, there is some of that goes on where we think in order for someone to succeed, someone else has to fail. And obviously that's not true. But I think we need to be mindful of that. We need to keep that at the forefront, of our minds to make sure that nothing we're doing can be misinterpreted as that crab bucket mentality. And so I've really enjoyed working with Tasha. I think she's got great leadership. And I think all of us together on the SMID, we have great, individuals like Michael and Riley from Resilient Sustainable Futures of Iowa City that also understand the need to get on board and to help intentionally put resources back into our community in the South District. So very excited about that. I think we've got a lot of good things going on. Like most of us, we're probably bad at self-promoting, that we do a lot, but most of you probably don't know it because we are very bad at throwing that out there in our social media, and we just don't have time, right? We're a nonprofit. We don't have a lot of resources. None of them are actually paid, so you take what you can get. But again, we're hoping that will change. We just finished up our inclusive economic development study that we hired Astique Planning to do, and they made their recommendation to the city. So we're hoping that some of those ARPA funds that we all heard about 2 years ago and have probably been wondering, where are those funds? How have those funds been allocated? This report was critical to making sure that the city knew where those funds needed to be allocated. And so as a result of that study and the work that we are all doing to address inclusive economic development, the city will start allocating some of those funds. And obviously, selfishly, we hope that we get some of those funds to help us hire staff and scale what we're doing. But we know at the very least it's going to go into our historically, disadvantaged communities in Iowa City.
So those funds, were those sort of the COVID funds that you were
Yeah,
talking
the
about?
ARPA
Yes.
funds, the
Yes.
American Recovery Protection Act.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think Iowa City got about $9 million, and most of that has not been touched.
Right.
I think they've allocated $1 million to community, but the plan is to allocate a significant portion of that, anywhere from $3 to $5 million, specifically for economic development. Which is pretty impressive considering that Iowa City as a whole did not receive that much money. By comparison, Johnson County received 38 or 39 million and chose to allocate 500,000 to economic development. So you can see there's quite a disparity in terms of what a county that obviously covers a much larger area had allocated versus what a city decided to allocate. So there's clearly a commitment by Iowa City to invest in economic development, and specifically an inclusive economic development ecosystem.
Yes, I talked to Wendy Ford about what we were doing here with the panel and said, did you have any updates? And she said there should be movement on that this fall.
Yes.
So we're in the second, third day of fall, so
Yeah.
we'll see.
I can confirm that. So they
Great.
presented to the city council, was this yesterday, or
Oh,
2
great.
days ago? And I think it was well received, and so now the hope is that they will give direction to Jeff Fruin, who's Wendy reports to, so that they can start doing some of those workshops and really kind of figuring out, crossing their I's and or crossing the T's, dotting the I's to figure out where do those funds actually need to go.
That's great. Are any of you likely to apply for those funds?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great, yeah. Cliff, yes, or
Yes.
why not?
Available.
Yeah, if it's available, there it is.
Yeah. What's it like do you have time to do that kind of application work, or you just have to make time to do it?
You have to make time.
Yeah.
Like I said, for me, I wear so many different hats. It's hard for me to make time. I think my kids, someone asked my son the other day, do she sleep? His response was sometimes. Like, I don't have the time. Like, I'm a transit supervisor for the city of Iowa City. I have my own business. I have 4 kids. I'm busy. So oftentimes I don't have the time. I create the time.
I think, and that's what we have to remind ourselves, to redirect ourselves, to make time and make that a first priority.
Yeah.
Because that's what's important for us to continue to grow and to help people,
Yeah.
The old process engineer in me looks for ways to gain some efficiencies. And so, Michael just left, but we've been spending a lot of time talking about a shared services model. It's unlikely that anyone on this panel or in this discussion is going to hire someone that can focus on doing something like grant writing. It's probably not an efficient use of funds, even if we could afford it. So the idea is, what if we hired 1 or 2 full-time grant writers, and then we provided that as a service to our community? And so I think we've made some pretty good headway. I think we're going to hire a pretty rock star individual that's nationally known for writing grants. And from that, maybe we just train the trainer. We maybe develop some talent here in town that we can then scale that model and make sure that if Cliff does want to, go out and apply for one of those grants, that he has a resource that can support his efforts in doing that.
Great, yes. So you all sort of have, I don't want to say a primary job, because your businesses are probably your primary job, but you have a job on the side to support your passion.
Oh yeah, my days are filled from the time I wake up in the morning to the time I lay my head down. The coffee shop keeps me very busy, which that's really is my primary job. I make more money at my 9 to 5 than I do in my business right now, which I understand because the business is new, and I probably wouldn't leave the roasting part anyway, because that's something that I really love to do. I initially went to school for a hotel restaurant management. But when I started roasting coffee, I found, hey, I like this way better than anything that I do. I am learning how to scale back on things. I was just working 2 jobs up until about a month and a half ago, which was draining. I was in the morning a coffee roaster, in the evening a director at a child care center. Plus had to go home with my kids, plus had to find times to fill the orders and needs for my customers. So pretty much working 7 days a week down to 6 days now. But I had some amazing people, especially these 2. Still waiting on the refrigerator, that something I need to get, but they keep me on my toes, and they actually make sure that I'm on top of the things I am. Angie Jordan especially, who is not here, definitely would not let you forget about anything that you have to do. Pastor Fred over here, been knowing for years, has also even told me that if I ever need volunteers sometimes, let him know he can get people to help. So I think as long as you have the right people backing you, that you can get things done. And it is a big blessing, because without a support system, I think a lot of us would have just been lost. Starting the business did make me realize who is really in my corner and who isn't. I have family here, friends here, where it's like, where did everybody disappear to, and I didn't have time for them. When I'm trying to have time for myself, it's like crickets. Everybody is gone. So I honestly just took a step back and started looking at the people that surrounds me and not worrying about the ones that don't. And it kind of helps free up time, because now I don't have to worry about trying to help this person solve that, help this person solve that. I learning how to tell people no and making time to do things for myself. And one day I'll get that refrigerator.
I mean, then, like, too, it's important, like you said, to piggyback off that, it's important to have that support system. Like, I'm on a phenomenal team. Angie Jordan, Marlene Mendoza, and Fred, we're having a phenomenal team, and it's the accountability, right? We hold each other accountable, because if they see me doing something that's off out the norm, off track, I know that they're going to pull me back. If they see me acting in a way that's not my norm, I know that I have a great team and friends, because they're not just a team, they're friends, they're family. They're going to say, you're doing this, you're wrong, get it together. And who am I to go and say, what do you mean? Like, no, they said it, then they must see something I don't see. So that is important, to have those people in your life to hold you accountable for your actions, for your behaviors, how you think, how you move, because they help mold you and keep you grounded. And that's important. You got to have people in your life that's willing to take that chance to keep you grounded. And I have that. And I'm fortunate enough to have that, because not everyone does. Mm-hmm. Not everyone's fortunate enough to have people in their life that keeps them grounded. That's not family by blood. But family isn't always blood. And the people that's going to be in your corner is not always family. But that's learning to have that. And I'm grateful for it. Angie, yeah, she makes sure you don't forget a thing.
You either though. It be sometimes where I have to catch myself, and she know me better than the people that I've been knowing all my life. Like, I don't even sometimes know when I'm showing my feelings, and I get a text, "What's wrong?" What you mean? I just seen the way you looked, or I just seen the way you wrote something, or you said something. I know something is off. So it's nice to have people that recognize changes and understand what you're going through and are able to talk to you and bring you back to reality, because I call her about everything. Tracy, I've been to sometimes too, and just to have those people listen and be able to tell you, well, it's you who's stopping you. They will tell you exactly what's on their minds. I give them that. Don't hold back, and I know if it's something I really need to know, I can get the truth from the people that surround me, and we all need that.
To add to that, I think we're going to get stronger as a community, but I think part of that community is recognizing that there are a lot of allies that want to help, and maybe are waiting to understand what role they can play. A lot of them are on that journey, and understand that it's not for them to decide what they can or should do. But there are individuals, some of them are in the room, that have done an amazing job at socializing what's going on, using their privilege to help bring some awareness. I mean, Travis specifically, he might be uncomfortable by me calling him out, but he's part of an institution. You're both part of an institution, but he found a way to leverage that privilege to bring some visibility to the work that we're doing, which obviously benefits the rest of our community. And so we need to make sure that we're creating that dialogue and that space for our allies who are also part of this community that maybe don't look like us to have an opportunity to come in and help and use their privilege to achieve some of that change that we want to see. We were just talking about that before we started. Like, the world's a scary place, and I don't know where it's going. I know that locally we can make some change, but that's going to require all of us to do together. And so I just want to, remind everyone that we need our allies. We need, the entire community to make something like that happen. So thank you.
So in terms of doing business in Iowa City, it seems to me that there was a space, and particularly Tasha and the SMID and Tracy, you stepped up in order to fill a need that you saw in the community. What keeps that from developing, or what is the problem? What was the problem that you saw? Just that there wasn't an organization where people were coming together to work together?
That was for us. That was the thing. Right? It's the South District, and if we're going to speak candidly, no one wanted to come to the South District, and for their own reasons. You know, there was no truth to it, but but it's bringing people back to the area, and showing. And it started with, again, Fred, when we did the first diversity market. Let's be honest, I was trying to do it initially in Pepperwood Plaza, and there was there was a constant no, or there were so many hoops that they were just throwing out there so that we couldn't do it. And met with Fred, and he said, "What do you need?" And I told him. He was like, "Yes." There was no, let me think about it. Maybe. It was like, yes, we need more people like Fred, to say yes to a vision, to a dream, because they know the importance of it. He knew the importance of what we were doing. He knew what needed to be done for the South District. We had a vision. We wanted to see it through. But we had important pieces to put together in order to see it through. We had people that needed to be in place in order to see it through. Right? Again, we live in Iowa City, and it's predominantly a white city. It's like white city. They don't know what we're going through. And again, someone attempted to do it, to do something similar to the diversity market, but it didn't work because they didn't know the audience. They didn't know who they were trying to serve. They didn't know the community. They didn't know anything. They just felt that I can go out here and I can do this and it's going to be done. It didn't work that way. You had to have those people in place that know the community, that's grounded in the community, that wants to see that community grow. And it took someone like Fred to take that chance and say, yeah, let's do it. And he's busy. Like, Fred is busy. But he found a way to still be there at those markets.
And supported
it, right? And it took the city for them to say, oh, they're really doing this. And once they saw that we were doing this and it was a thing and it was going to work, then they was like, okay, let's see how we can be a part of this, because this work is important. This is the work. It's important. It's important for our city, not just the South District, but the city of Iowa City to grow as a whole.
And just to double down on that, and again, I don't want to make Fred uncomfortable, but it takes people that are not indifferent to the problem, right? So Fred had an asset, and he was willing to make that available. The first diversity market was in the parking lot of the Kingdom Center, right? It really would not have taken much for the owners of the Pepperwood Plaza to say, yes, you can do that here, but that didn't happen.
Right.
And Fred saw a need and said, I have a thing that I can use to help benefit them. And I don't think it took him but a half a second to say, yeah, let's just do it. When other people are indifferent to the challenges that we're experiencing as Black-led organizations or Black-owned businesses, that's what's going to keep us from moving forward. So when you have people like Fred, leaders in our community that realize we just have to figure out how to get to yes, that's how we've been able to make some of that progress. And I think we'll continue to do that. And we're not going to stand around and wait for someone else to say, yes, you have our permission. The days of us asking for permission to do something are gone. The Summer Reckoning, we saw that as an opportunity to really leverage some of that momentum, and a lot of us just went to work and we just started doing these things, and we kind of really did our part, whatever that meant for us in our respective communities, to just make the change happen. Mm-hmm. And I think now we have other people that are willing to help, and they see, the need was always there, but they see, that someone's going to do it regardless, and they don't want to be left out. And so now we see them saying, yeah, well, let us know what we can do to help, and we can support. There's financial, things that are coming our way that really never would have happened a few years ago.
Mm-hmm. And then too, like for me, I have in my store is the business corner. Mm-hmm. And for me, again, that's my way of helping other businesses that's not known, right, to be known, right? Come in and put a business card in this corner, because I'm going to promote you. I do a Facebook Live with my store to show new items, and I go to that corner, and I tell people who they are, the services they provide. I even go as far as like they have a great personality, because people need to know that who they're going to do business with, they're welcoming. Their personality will mix, and they're okay, great people. So yeah, I will continue to do that. I've been doing it since I opened my doors at JD Beauty Supply, and I'll keep doing it because it helps promote those people.
And I just like the community you all built, Fred included, because even when I first started my business, and I noticed that, and I'm still noticing it, it was pretty much about who you knew, and not even about which black person you knew. Honestly, it was about which white person you knew in Iowa City determined how your business was going to thrive. It was a lot of times where, and Tasha knows this, I have went and asked for things or tried to find information out about things. And sometimes it was even people of color that was shutting me down, like, oh, no, we don't know what you're talking about. I don't know about this. But then if they see me speaking to someone that they know, or somebody, oh, yeah, I know Rachel, then I get calls and emails. Oh, this is available. Oh, yeah, you meant this program? And it's like, why should I have to know somebody for you to help me? And I think that's why a lot of people gives up. And I'm glad you got that business corner, because it's a lot of people that, even with the work we did with the planning thing, that why should I even put myself out there? You just got to keep doing it. And now I am to the point where I don't want to be used as a puppet or a model for somebody to say, oh, we're doing this for this business, because it's a lot of times people will offer you stuff and will get nothing done. They will tell you they're going to help you just because of the people they're sitting around. And then once that event is over with, they forget about you. They probably throw your card away. They don't follow up. What I can say about these people, they have followed up. They continue to follow up. And I thank y'all for that. And now it's to the point where sometimes you got to learn how to turn stuff down. I turned down a lot of things for the simple fact I don't want to be used. You're not going to use me because you're trying to make Iowa City look like a better place for African American businesses. I would not be that spokesperson anymore, because I feel if you're using me to gain something or to get funds from somewhere, why aren't I seeing any of those? Why aren't the flavor units seeing any of those? I-Core Boxing, JD, Multicultural Development Center. And that's what a lot of us got to understand. You have to really know who you're working with and who you're telling your ideas to. Because I have mentored people and turned around and found out they stole all my ideas and plans. So it's like, it's kind of hard and it makes you skeptical. You just have to find that support system and those people that are actually out there to help you and not hurt you. And I'm glad that I have met some of these people, because y'all all are amazing, honestly.
Thank you. You got to build your tribe.
Yeah, you have to. Because it's brutal out there.
Oh,
I thought I was something else. It is brutal. I'm going to heaven with the way these people are. I got excuse me. I just
Seriously.
say things sometimes.
I mean, the truth is the truth.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, that's the most powerful information is the truth.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
So
Sometimes
would
it's
you
hard,
say
but-
it's slow in coming? So I've only been here 23 years and seeing things change in the area in Iowa City, and change takes a time to do things. So you mentioned that the summer, what was the term? Someone used a really good
Summer of Reckoning.
summer of reckoning.
Yeah.
Was sort of a pivotal moment that you could jump off from.
Yeah.
Would you say there's been sort of a slow build, because you said 20 years, through trying to live your life and start your business?
20 years. Yep.
So it could take you 20 years to get a business on its feet.
And
Is that fair to say that?
There wasn't any resources. We wish we had some, was given out. You know, nothing. They look at you like you're crazy when you say you want to open up a business. And I come from a family of entrepreneurs and creators. We're creators, so and innovators. So it's like, oh wow, we didn't give up.
I
That's
think
the
it's harder
glory in
for
it.
us because we have mobile, and it's really hard
It's
for
so
mobile
hard.
vendors. It is.
It's
We
twice
get
the
looked
work.
and laughed at. Like I always tell people, We are the only people that will leave a 40-hour job to go work a 80, 90-hour job and get paid less.
I worked in
'Cause
cardiac for years.
It's like, why would
Yeah.
I leave a coffee roasting company? I get paid nothing at my job for my business, and one day it'll get there. But as long as I'm able to leave something for my kids and provide a service for the community, honestly, I'm gonna keep doing it. It's very hard.
That's the ultimate sacrifice, though.
Yeah,
right?
you
And
got to
that's what we wanna
sacrifice
do.
something if it's something you want. We're not going to be able to have it all. I mean, one day, hopefully, I could get those Giuseppe's. But right
Well,
now,
you
we
should.
can't have it all.
Well, we definitely don't want it to take 20 years for someone
Oh, no.
Right.
to
I
get a
mean-
business. There's been a significant uptick in new businesses started, at least new business filings with the state of Iowa. And so I'm concerned that if we don't have more programs like ours in place,
Yes.
that a lot of those new businesses are destined to fail.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is not a deficit mindset. This is the harsh reality that, as Rachel has already articulated, it's hard. You know, there's a lot of barriers, a lot of roadblocks that prevent people from being able to be successful when they start out a business. And we still haven't fully come out of this pandemic, right? I mean, it's hard to find resources. You know, hiring people is a challenge. Supply chain issues still exist. And of course, redlining is still very much a real thing, despite what, you know, financial institutions want to say. So if we don't have alternatives to some of those things, you are going to have the same problems that everyone else has had for decades and decades before that. So starting a business, great. We want to encourage people to do that all the time, but we want to make sure that they have a solid plan, that they have the resources and the support that they actually need. And I think a lot of those are here today, right? Like, go where your people are, go where your customers are. If that happens to be Black and brown people, then bring yourself to the South District, right? That's why we do what we do, to try to grow that particular district and that community. But connect, right? Network. Make sure that you have access to those resources that we all know are going to be a requirement for you to be successful.
I also believe like the only thing in the world that's constant is change. Right? The world is ever changing. Nothing is the same today as it was yesterday. But that's what we bank on. That's what we want, the change. And I haven't been here as long as you, you know, but the time that I've been here, I see a change every day. And that's not a bad change. It's
Quick
change for the
changes,
better.
too. It's
Yeah.
quick.
They're quick.
Got to be agile.
I mean, quicker and quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And I would say that probably the closing of a lot of really large businesses has made it sort of a little more of a welcoming place for smaller businesses.
In theory.
So large department stores, large box stores, large whatever. In
You would
theory,
think that, but honestly, even with all these big names closing, small businesses are still going to struggle, and they still are. And it's a lot to do with, like Tasha's crab in the bucket theory. We all have to work together, especially if we want to be able to survive and make it. We cannot be against each other, especially with the food vendors and everything like that. It's enough room for all of us to get out here and eat. And I think if we all work together, we can achieve a lot of great things, just like they did with the diversity market, and use the resources that are available, because it is a lot of resources out here for us and a lot of programs. But we have to get the word out, and people need to know about it. And I think that's one of the biggest barriers that you're going to face. Anybody that want to start a building, I suggest you research before you just jump out there, because when I first started, I had a plan. Sell coffee out of a truck. If you ask me every day, oh, what are you selling in your business? Coffee out of a truck. You get a cup of coffee. That's it. Well, I don't drink coffee. Why? I'm just selling coffee out of a cup. Well, what about the people that drink tea? Okay. Oh, well, I like lemonade. So without me researching things, I would have failed the first day, because everybody did not like what I had to sell. I thought I had the best business plan in the world, until I took some of these brutal cohorts that would shut you down and let you know that is like the dumbest idea ever. I mean,
We didn't say it quite like that,
it
but
worked. That's just how they didn't use those words, but but it worked. It made me look at things differently. Like, these programs actually sit down with you and they help you research and they help you get it together, because I was cocky. I was like, oh, okay, I know what I want to do. I don't care what this class say, I'm still doing it. But I sell more than coffee out of a truck, because it was just a crazy idea that I had, but I took advantage of the classes and I leaned on some of the people that has been having successful businesses. And I took their advice and I expanded, and it has grown. And the surprising thing is, most of my other drinks sell better than my coffee. And I don't know how to feel about that, but it helped a lot. Like, we just can't go out there all cocky and big-headed and say, hey, I'm going to do this, and I don't care what anybody else say because I'm going to have the best business ever. It does not work that way. Go to other small business owners and, hey, can you help me with this? If we all stick together and we just take information from each other, we are all grow and prosper. It's just building that community and letting everybody see that we can create something. It'll get better. But right now, it's not, with these businesses closing down, because a lot of people are scared to trust you to provide a service for them. Or you got another business owner trying to shut you down because
They feel like
they
you
feel like you competition with
and
them.
that ain't even the case.
Yeah, and it's that crab in the bucket theory. Everybody
Yeah.
want to pull each other back in, and nobody will ever crawl out, because we all trying to fight to
Get to the top.
get to the top.
There's no need to fight.
It really isn't.
And I've experienced that. Like, my first year, actually the first week I opened my doors, and someone walked in and was like, I guess you my competition. Wait, what?
Whoa.
Wait, I'm your what? Like, that's a thing? No. There isn't enough of us to be a competition. Let's be honest. There isn't enough of us to be a competition. I want to help you. How can we help each other? Help me help you. But compete? No, there isn't enough. Because the crab in the bucket mentality is a crab is going to get to the top of that bucket, but that other crab is going to he wants to get to the top too. So in order to get to the top, he has to pull him back down. That should not be a thing, but it is.
Instead of overturning the bucket.
Right.
Yeah, and we all
Just
just come
overturn
out
the
together.
bucket
Right.
and you step above.
Right.
And once you step above and you work collectively,
Right.
then everybody can win.
I always tell people when I see them arguing about businesses, because we got the same thing. It is always a McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's 1 and 2 blocks away from each other, and they are all billion-dollar corporations.
Exactly.
You do not see them fighting with each other or trying to get the other place shut down because we sell the same thing, but yet they all growing. So why can't we? Why do we have to worry about, because this person got chicken and I just sold chicken yesterday? I mean, why?
I feel like, just to piggyback on that, just because some people are aspiring to be business owners don't mean that they're capable of it.
Or were
And you
meant
got
to
to
be.
cut people like that out too. They usually fade away anyway.
or train them up, right? I mean, I think everyone
help 'em
has
grow.
that potential. Yeah.
Yeah.
But don't be
Yeah.
too stubborn and think that you can
But
do it. you know.
stubbornness
On your
don't
own.
get
Yeah.
nowhere.
Because we all
Can't be
need
stubborn.
somebody.
And I'll be
You
honest.
always got to learn.
I have people who come in there looking for a product. I may not have it. I am so quick to say, I don't have it. Go over there. She
Right.
may have it. I'll call for you, see if they're open. No, I don't have it, but I know that you need it. I'm okay with sending that business to someone else. And honestly, someone else that has the same business as me. Because ultimately, it's not even about me. It's about what that customer needs. I don't mind. I do it all the time. I don't have it. She may have it.
So did any of you ever think about packing it all in and moving to Chicago, moving to a bigger market, moving somewhere
I'm
else?
going to be honest. That's something that I want to do because I believe in stepping away to step back in what my home base is, and that is one of my home base. That's where I'm from. So not taking it away from this community, you build up here, which you created, and then you go back. Because that's what a lot of people forget. They forget about where they come from. I'm from Inglewood. That's the flavor unit is needed in Inglewood. Jobs is needed in Inglewood. So my focus is bigger than just Iowa City. It's greater than that. You know, it's about taking that business concept and taking it back to create so other people can learn from it as well and create. Because this is my second home, but that's my home. So I don't know about you guys.
Cliff, what about you?
With branching off, I put that mural out there on that wall with Muhammad Ali on there because I wanted to sit here for the next 30 plus years. So I plan on making sure that I-Corps here is always our headquarters. However, franchise is exactly where we're going.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm from Philadelphia. My father owns a gym out in Philadelphia, which I am inheriting to pass on to my sons. And the goal is to make sure that we branch off in multiple different places. So we got home. My home base is back here in Philly, and that is one of the things that inspired me to, when I came here and I saw the small building that the small business that was already kind of just, it was on the brink of fizzling out. It was pretty much because that other business was shutting down, that was about to go away completely. And I said, absolutely not, because there's opportunity here and there are plenty of people here who need it. We also didn't have a big diverse group of clients, and I didn't like that. I feel like that's something that we needed to change. So that was another reason why I wanted to branch off and get as many people in as possible. And one of the reasons why I also put Muhammad Ali up there on that wall with the impossible quote. I want people to understand that anything can be done, and you can do it, and we are here to support you no matter what. So that's pretty much where I'm at.
Rachel, Tasha, ever thought of packing it up?
My children are getting older. My oldest is 24. She graduates December with her bachelor's degree in public relations. She's at FAMU. And I preach HBCUs in my home. I have an 18-year-old who just graduated who's also on his way to a HBCU. My children are getting older and they're venturing outside of Iowa. But I'm not going to leave because I want them to be able to come back home. They're going to all go to different places in the world, right? I can see that now because they all want to go hundreds and hundreds of miles away. But I want them to be able to travel back home if they need a peace of mind or if they just need to get outside of their homes. So I don't see me leaving anytime soon. And then I have one who doesn't graduate for a while. So, yeah, I'm just going to be here.
No. I would do pop-ups in other states, but honestly, I don't plan on taking my business out of Iowa. I do want to venture off into other little small towns and countries, but cities, I said countries.
You said countries.
Yeah, I did.
That's
works
bigger.
too, yeah.
That works.
One step
I
at a
like
time.
doing
Cafe on the
pop-ups everywhere, and I do ship. So, if you're watching from another state, cafeonthego.com. I ship bags of coffee in the process of learning how to ship juices. I want to keep my business a small local business, honestly. This is the community I live in. This is the community I plan on staying in. If my children get older and decide they want to buy a franchise from me because they paying too, then they can venture it to somewhere else. But I just like the idea of this is where I started it at. This is where I'm going to stay at. I do want trucks in other areas so I can focus on a larger brand and broad range of people. But I don't see myself leaving.
And she has great
Tracy, anything to add to that?
Great
From the very
decaf.
beginning, we embraced an open source model. So if you're maybe not in the tech industry, open source is basically it's free for everyone to use, and that is our plan is to really kind of iron out all the kinks and then put together a model that can be duplicated, but not for us to be managing and facilitating, but to identify other communities like ours that would benefit from that and find a stakeholder, somebody that's connected in the community and has those connections, has some good allies that can take that model and use it. But it'll always, we've never charged for anything. We're not going to charge for anything as long as I'm alive. But we want to make those resources available.
And I would say that's one of the strengths, I think, in terms of the way you conduct business and what you're doing for the community, is that you have that commitment to the community. That's a really important commitment that I think should also be celebrated, that you want to stay here, you want to build that, and there
this
should be more
community-
recognition for that.
This community has done a lot for me too. Honestly, I get calls to do things from people that I didn't even know knew about my business or even knew I existed. And one thing I can say about Iowa City and the surrounding neighborhoods, this community and the people that live here support small businesses, and I love that.
Definitely.
Kylie, one of our longtime customers, who it's amazing to see what this community does for everyone. And when I say everyone, I mean everyone. It's people that reach out and will buy all of my product if they see I haven't sold a bag, just to say they support it. It's people that don't even use my products that will buy it just to say they supported it and just leave it there or say give it to somebody else. So I really believe in this community, and that's why I'd rather just keep it here and keep the money flowing here, because I figure the people spend money in this community. I'd rather let my taxes and everything else go here to help somebody else or create a job for somebody else here.
Right. And again, for me, my youngest staff is here. She's how old you are? She's 11. She's my youngest staff. She only works on Sundays. But it is providing those things for the community, not just the older or the adults or it's the kids, right? The younger kids, we need to help and show them and guide them, and they help us, right? Because she's shown me a lot. And so it is the younger ones that we focus on, but they're in the community, they're in the schools, and we want to keep focusing on them, right? Because they are our future. When we're gone, it's going to be them that take over these businesses.
Absolutely.
And so for us, it's staying in this community so that they can see that, right? Because she hired herself. I didn't hire. She hired herself. She came. And I was so impressed. And at the time, she was 10. And she came in and she was like, yeah, you ain't got no prices on none of this stuff. I was like, okay. She was like, I can do that. You could. She was like, so what day do I start? Wait, what? And her mom thought that I was playing. I was like, start Sunday. And she didn't show up Sunday. And so her mom calls. I was like, tell your daughter she's fired. She did a no call, no show. And her mom was like, oh, you were serious? Yes, I was serious. Because this is our future.
Right.
She showed me what kids our age should be thinking about. How she can make her own money. And she came in and she got right to task. I showed her one time and she went to it. But though this is our future, she is setting the examples, and she doesn't even know she's setting examples. What other kids should want to do is creating that work ethic at a very young age. So that's valuable.
Yeah, that's great. So we have a short time left. Our folks here, do you have any questions for our guests?
So I'm Letitia Howlett with Bayside Bistro in the Quad Cities, and I came up here because my daughter attends the Tippie Business Yeah, y'all know where she go. So anyway, so I'm happy to see all of you all, and I first want to encourage you all to just continue your stride. There is nothing like the joy of completing that thing God put in you. So congratulations to you in your spots. I also want to ask you, has anybody opened a third location, a second or third location on the panel?
Well, I kind of did two at one time. So we did the food truck. I started and created my own commissary, and I'm opening up a location at the same time. So I have the food truck, created my own commissary, and then our location that's going to be dual at the same time.
Okay, so are you leveraging your funds from your personal assets or your business assets, and then how are you I guess I want to know, because that's where I am in my space. Mm-hmm. So it's about your business banking, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm very, very good at my banking portion of things, but the banks are always saying, which I hate, you need more skin in the game. Well, nobody's got more skin in the game than my black tail. I'm going to tell you now. Because we're going to work and work and work. We don't have the opportunity or the option to leave because we have to make this business work, because everything we own is into it, right? There isn't an investor, and we're just using a third party's money, right? The bank comes after us and they really want their money back from us. So it's a different mindset that we have. So I'm wondering about the banking process, whatever portion you're willing to be, open about, in terms of getting a loan or not getting a loan, and leveraging assets and the people resource, right?
Right.
Especially now.
So how we started is basically me and my husband both worked full-time jobs and was working full-time with our mobile food truck at the same time. And our personal money, of course, went towards our home base, bills, personal expenses, and then whatever was left went towards our business with no credit, no banking, no help. And every dollar that we did make, we invested it back into our business. And that's what we've been doing, and it's been working. And we're tight.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize, like, the first couple years of business, you really don't see it, right? Because everything that you bring in is going back into the business. You have to reinvest it. And some people are like, oh, she's rich, she got a business. Who? I just had to buy a case of braiding hair. That wasn't cheap.
Exactly.
So I have to reinvest. I didn't get loans. I work. And I'm also a single parent of 4. So I work, and every dime that I had put to the side, it went to my business. So even with the money the business does make, it's going back into the business. I have a brick and mortar. I'm not online. So that's another set of bills that has to come out outside of the products that I have to buy. Because those products, again, they're not cheap. And with the economy the way that they are now, the prices have increased a significant amount. Whereas I would go in before and buy a jar of grease for hair, and it was $2. But now you go in and buy it in those warehouses, and it's $5. So I'm not only feeling it, but my customers are feeling it. Because they're like, why is this so expensive? This is not by choice. This is not my doing. Because if I had a part to play in it, you would not be paying this much at all. But in order for me to succeed, I have to raise the price, because the economy is on a decline.
But just to piggyback off of that a little bit, going back to, do you think it's smarter to use banking and reinvest, or either reinvest in what you make into your business? I feel like dual. If you have the opportunity to use some banking, but it all depends on interest rates and, all of that.
So
too.
that's why we started essentially a bank. The traditional banking models want you to obviously have a lot of skin in the game, but they don't recognize your business. They don't know what it is that you've done, and honestly, they don't care. So when we look at a loan applicant, the first thing we look at is what kind of equity do they have in their own business, and we take that into consideration. I think debt financing is an important part of running a business, and it's something that you have to manage well. I personally would argue that you should keep your money, your personal money, in your account and build that deposit account and then leverage debt financing whenever you can. If the numbers work out, you've got a solid business plan, your projections have been vetted, which is something that we look at. And it's not something that everyone understands how to do because you're basically guessing, right? You're trying to look into the future and figure out, how am I going to do? And sometimes you're more optimistic than you should be. So having kind of an unbiased third party that has an interest in loaning you some money can look at that and say, well, what is this based on? You've got a 10x increase in your revenue, year over year. How can you sustain that? What other expenses will increase proportionally based on your increased capacity? So working with somebody that's willing to have that conversation with you and not just look at what it is on paper and have a conversation, I think is key. But when you can leverage loan dollars through any institution, I would encourage you to do that. I would also encourage you to look at any kind of an affiliate, CDFI in your area. You're in the Quad Cities, so there's definitely at least one that I know of that is Black or Brown led and is willing to look at businesses and loan money differently than a traditional bank would.
And then right now I'm doing a lot of just building my business credit, so that way I don't have to use my personal credit scores and stuff, because honestly, going to different lenders is just going to mess your credit up anyway with everybody running it. And then I build a good reputation with my bank. I have a credit union, and then I have a bank for business where I could keep everything separate and I can know what things are going in. I think really building that business credit will make it easier. It's still going to be hard, and with the interest rates on everything they want to charge us is outrageous. So what I did was just opened up a lot of accounts that with Uline, Quail, Fleet, gas cards, anything that I can just put on my EIN number to kind of help build my business credit up, so that way I can go to some of these institutions and apply for loans if I need to. And the small business administrator, if they have loan programs, or look into your town and see what programs your city halls have to offer. Yeah, some of them have micro loans, and so it just takes a lot of researching and trying to see which program it would be a good fit for your business.
And it's kind of talking to your city council members, right, and asking them what's available, because they'll know to, go to your city's website, and they'll have a lot of that posted on the city's website as well.
Are you a TSB? Okay, well, that's a good first step. But to their points, most cities have loan and grant programs, and if it's anything like Iowa City, the first qualifier is to make sure that you're a TSB. You can certainly look at the SBA. I think if you're looking at an SBA-backed loan through a traditional bank, that gets pretty messy. They just don't like it. Yeah, they really don't. They tell you, well, we have a better product. Yeah. Yeah, they have really no incentive to encourage you to pursue that one, so they may actually steer you away from that. But I do think if it's a larger banking institution, those decisions aren't made locally, so they may not be willing to look beyond what's on paper. And so that was my original suggestion, is to find somebody that's doing that locally. They're a CDFI or an affiliate of a CDFI that has the ability to look at local loan applicants.
And then we talked based like on our ARPA fund. Most cities have something like it, similar. I know Cedar Rapids has something, so look at that too and see if they have something developed for that fund.
Just to finish up, really quickly, Iowa's Targeted Small Business Program. Do you know about that? Is that a good program?
Yep, TSB. That's what I was
TSB.
asking about. Yeah, I think the last cohort, we actually had them join our program, made connections so that if anyone had questions about the application process or got hung up, they do seem to be committed to doing that. But you do have to be in business for 2+ years and have your tax returns and things from a business perspective. But it is certainly well worth taking the time to do that.
The Iowa Source Link, IA Source Link.
it's another database of
Yeah.
resources that may or may not be helpful. Taking the time to navigate sites like that
It's a
can
little
be kind of
complicated.
daunting.
All right.
Yeah.
So go to you.
I would recommend yes.
And of course, the IRS has a website with small business, self-employed, starting a business links and such. And then the SBDC
Yeah.
also has their.
Yeah.
Yep.
I struggle with that one, and I'll speak pretty freely. It's funded by the federal government, and the SBA has some involvement there. But at least in this particular area, it's one individual, and I'm just not sure that there's enough of a focus on underserved and underrepresented people. I do think, again, that there are some people that have more of a grassroots or a local approach that are willing to build those relationships. Their resources are free, they're available, and so maybe you check out the website and use them for that. But beyond that, I'm not sure that locally that provides enough value and that there's enough of a commitment to see those types of businesses succeed.
That's great. Yeah. So if nothing else, if somebody's looking into something, they can contact you or Tasha to say,
Absolutely.
Yep.
what do you think of this? Should I keep going?
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Absolutely.
think there's a lot of value in contacting Tasha and myself, especially as it relates to the SMID. So if you're in Iowa City, there are property owners that we engage with that have an incentive to create some space for new businesses to move in. There are ARPA funds that are going to be made available for economic development that will go through certain organizations that have a history of doing economic development. We're one of those. So there's some pass-through funds and some programs that will be funded so that we can help those businesses. So there's just a lot of reasons why you might consider doing that.
Yeah. And I'm listed. I'm okay with calling me anyway. You can call me, you can text me, and I'm okay with it. And if I don't know the answers, I will find them for you or direct you on where you can find them.
Great. Yes, I actually have some of your business cards from last year, in case anybody wants any. And I have a couple of these sheets. Or if you leave me your email, I can send you the digital copy of it. And along with that are our list of guests that were with us today. Evidently, Simeon Talley was dealing with a problem at his business, and it wasn't easily resolved, so he wasn't able to join us today, but certainly he is someone who also can be a resource for folks.
Absolutely.
So I want to thank you all very much for talking with us today, and we'll have this video available, and we'll talk about ways to be able to have people access that, because I think, the advice, the comments, the points of view that you all have, that your willingness to share your personal lives as well as your business lives and how those are all interconnected, and the kind of people that you are is very, very inspiring, and I think everybody should know you and connect with you. So you might get a whole bunch of volunteers for the SMID.
We're okay with that.
Yes, yeah. I know there's a section of that on the website in the newsletter for people to volunteer to help out. So also know that. It's always a good idea to join up with an organization, get to know the people in it. And that's also going to be because you're building those relationships, even though they're not necessarily directed. Now, you might not have the time with the busy lives that you all have, but it's also something to think about. So thank you all very much. It was a pleasure and honor to have you all with us, and look forward to seeing you again and shopping your businesses.
Thank you.
Thank you.